Well, I gotta be honest, I completely agree with Doug and Stacy. You definitely need to start growing your own food. And I got the sign, it's time to start. So today's video is gonna be compost. How I do it, and how you can start your normal pile, because mine's not normal. And just to let you know, the alarm is right there. That little itty bitty green strawberry that's growing right now that decided to sprout. He's been a trooper. He's been fighting all winter long. And to be completely honest, that's not the first time, but he's actually stuck around for a while. And then on top of that, here is the ultimate trigger that it is time to get your garden ready. You see these chives? Believe it or not, they were alive on this window seal of my bus all winter long, even in frigid temperatures. And if you look extremely closely in there, right there, you can notice right here, it's starting to sprout again. So let's go outside and let's get started on the pile. All right, here we go. We're talking compost. Now, we had an interesting storm that dumped a lot of water, so that's going to help me out with a lot of my ingredients that I've got right here. If you notice, I have some ashes out of my wood stove. I have a black pot here. This is chicken poop. I have another black pot here that is compost from our composting toilet. We use a urine diverter in the bus, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the pile. Then we have our natural kitchen stuff: eggshells, apple core, coffee grounds, a banana peel. You have your normal peat moss, some sawdust if you can get a hold of it. If not, straw will work. And then one of the key ingredients is grass. Now, I have quite a bit of grass and dead grass, which will simulate straw as well. So I've got pretty much everything that I need for a pile. There's one thing you are going to need if you're going to do this outside. You're going to need plastic to cover it. If you have chickens, make sure you cover it very well on the ground, or build a box that they cannot get into, okay? Because they will get in there and they will lay their eggs and all kinds of other stuff. If you're using plastic, make sure you weigh it down. I have some steel off to the side over here that I'm going to use to surround this once I'm done making and mixing this pile. Your other option is a bucket. Now, I'm not going to use the bucket because I don't like containing it, and I actually like to see if the pile is activated by putting the plastic on it, and you get that from the humidity and condensation factor that is built up underneath the plastic, and that tells you your pile is hot, okay? Which means it is breaking down. So let's go with the normal compost pile. Normally what you would do is you would go ahead and you would take some of this peat moss, and I'm going to go ahead and add these coals to it. You can or you can't, you don't really have to. But I would take this peat moss and I'm going to sprinkle it over there just like that. And then I'm going to take the sawdust and I'm going to sprinkle it just like that. You don't have to sprinkle it, I'm just doing this just to layer it evenly. You can just, because you got to mix it anyway. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my grass. And thanks to the moisture that we got that's in this grass, I won't have to put that much water on this pile, but you will need to water these and keep them wet so that they can develop the heat, because without the moisture in it, you don't really get nothing. Once they actually start kicking and producing a lot of heat, you really don't have that much to worry about, okay? So this right here is pretty much how you get started on your normal compost pile. You just basically pick it up and you mix it together just like that. And you can actually get a little bit of dirt if you want and mix it in with it, okay? Normally that's what I'll do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to step off camera real quick. Actually, I don't even have to that much. I have a bucket right here. Imagine that. So I'm going to take a little bit of my dirt that's not frozen, just like that. And I'm going to add this into the pile too, just so that I've got a little bit of solid kind of earth foundation in there already. And then you just mix all this up. And like I said, you wet it really good.
and your pile will basically start to kick. It'll start breaking down the grass, the peat moss, and everything else will go in with each other and everything else. Now, that's how you usually get a normal one started. Like I said, mine's not normal. So, what do I like to do? Table scraps, right off the bat. Composting material from our personal toilet, and chicken poop. I mix those together, just like that. The chicken poop has straw and all the rest of the stuff in it, so you're pretty much good to go. Mix this up just a little bit, just like that. I know a lot of people are like, gross! But I'll tell you what, you're gonna grow some of the best food ever, because if you honestly think that the dirt you buy from the store does not have some type of fecal matter in it, whether it be from an insect or a person or an animal or whatever the case may be, you're sorely mistaken. You can use cow poop if you want, but personally I don't like to, just because, well, you're already using grass, and grass pretty much gives you that extra kick that you need. And if you really need to on a compost pile like this, if you really absolutely need to, you can absolutely dump urine into the pile, and it will give you that extra nitrogen to boost your heat and kick the pile right off the bat. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my plastic, now that my compost pile is pretty much done, and it's a small scale pile just to get the dirt started. I don't have much for transplanting, and plus I don't own the land that I live on, so I'm not going to go creating a huge compost pile that I'm never going to be able to use. My wife and I are actually still trying to get property, so it's a lot harder now. Alright, so now that I got that covered in plastic, I'm going to put a piece of steel there, I'm going to put a piece of steel here, and I got to make sure that I overlap these because they're a little long. Put a piece of steel like that, just like that, and then I'm going to take this one just like that. And now that this pile is covered, it's going to go ahead and it's going to start producing heat and break down. That's the way I do my piles right off the bat. If you're not looking to do a compost pile to that extreme, I would just go with your normal peat moss, grass, sawdust, straw. Cardboard is a good one you throw in there for an extra kick and stuff like that. But with what I've already put in here, it's enough to kick it for my pile, alright? So if you have any questions, you'll let me know. Drop a comment down below if you would. I'd really appreciate to see what you guys think of this particular composting method. And then if you want, subscribe, because like I said, I got a lot of good stuff, and if I were watching and I were you, I would definitely subscribe. Trust me, I would, because I like to get straight to the point on a lot of things, alright? So you guys take care, and hit that notification bell if you do subscribe, alright? I'll see you next time. Oh, we're going to check this pile in a couple of weeks or see how it's actually activating too, so I'm not going to leave you hanging, alright? Later.